Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry. That was only the setting of the
So we've met each other. How did we meet? We met at shows and stuff, I think, didn't we? Which is one thing that I absolutely love about the shows is meeting everybody. If that we meet, we've met online through the community, through Instagram, for years.
I think it at Hampton Court we met.
Yeah, and then Hampton Court, was that the first time we actually met?
I think it was, or maybe one before.
It was one before,
Maybe one before.
think, wasn't it? Yeah, but yeah, that's where we actually met face to face. We've bought each other a cup of tea a few times,
yeah, a few
and
cups of tea.
yeah, and just wandered around the shows together,
Yeah.
haven't we? And talked about what we like and what we don't like,
And now we're having a cup of tea
yeah,
in the woodland riverbank.
I know. Now here we are recording a podcast because, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But you're about to do a pretty big thing, doing your garden at BBC Gardeners World Live. But we'll come back to that because I feel like that's totally skipping the whole story. Because Make It Flourish.
Mm-hmm.
I think for you, well, you tell me how it started, but I think for you, it seems like it started as something, in lockdown, and then now it's turned into something way bigger. So how did that all start?
So it was, during the national lockdown. I think everybody was struggling. I looked out my window one day, and we'd been there for 6 months, and it was dull. It didn't have one flowering plant. Every plant bed was covered in stones, and it looked horrible. And I looked outside. I said, I'm going to make it flourish. And I don't know why, but I wanted to record the journey.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of the recording of the journey, but I just wanted to record the journey for myself. And I guess I thought if I could make it flourish, then, let's just share it. And so I went to the garden centres just before they were closing, got my hands on all the seeds and bulbs that I could. I mean, it was a real random mix. But in that mix was cosmos and dahlias, not forgetting them because they're my favourite now. And a very limited supply on compost. And I started sowing these seeds. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, really, if I'm honest. Like, I read the
I was going to
back
ask
of the
you that.
seed
Like,
packet.
had you done much gardening before, or was this really your first?
No, that was my first.
Wow.
Like, I didn't do any growing up. I had a real love for flowers, but it always meant getting flowers on my birthday from florists. But I wanted to know more about flowers. And I got these seeds packets and started sowing, and things started germinating, which was like, wow. Like, every morning I'd be running down to my little zippy cold frame and looking and like, oh my gosh, and like everyone's watching the news and like in misery. I mean, it was a really hard time, but these little seedlings were just giving me joy each morning, and then they became plants, and then the flowers came, and I was like, wow, like, I've got to share this with even more people. And so years on, that is kind of developed, and
because you've just basically shared the story of what you did in your garden and how you fell in love with gardening, basically. So it's kind of by accident.
Yeah.
But then just started doing it and started loving it. And then how did you end up doing all of this stuff in the community, and how did you really get into that?
So during the national lockdowns, I was doing Instagram grow-alongs. So we'd have a flower focus each week. It was always on a Sunday. I loved doing it, and I was connecting with people from all around the world even that were growing along. And then I think I still do the grow-alongs, was doing earlier in the year, like January to the March. But there was something in me this year. I was like, I really want to just meet up with people and grow together. Like, there's something about sowing seeds physically with people. And it's something it was an idea, a seed that was sown in my head, I guess, in the national lockdown when I was doing the sow-alongs online. And I just thought, let's just try.
So you started doing the grow-alongs online first,
yeah.
and just did you just go live and just
I'd never gone live in my life. And
was that a bit daunting at first?
It was, yeah.
Did you get many people join for those first ones?
I think the first ones, it wasn't many, but
I think that's the good way to start, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, but it was just I loved doing it, and I loved sort of sharing what I was doing, and some people were sharing. There was always someone growing along, and even if it was one or two other people growing along with me, it didn't matter.
That's what makes it worthwhile, isn't
it? Yeah. So, it all started, I guess, doing those, and then I think I was itching from doing those grow-alongs on Instagram to, do it physically with people. I think it was in the January this year, I just thought, it's now or never. I've got to do this meetup group.
Yeah.
So I just went for it. I spoke to Mr. Fothergills, and I couldn't believe it when they said, yes, we're going to sponsor your meetup group. And so...
And did you just kind of go to them and say, I've got this idea to just basically help people grow stuff, and to grow stuff with people, can I have some free stuff?
No, I gave them a plan of action, and I couldn't believe they believed in my idea, and I was really thankful that they believed in my idea and the plan. And I had a different flower focus for each week. So the week 1, very first week we started with sweet peas, and then week 2 was cosmos, week 3 was lupins.
Nice.
Echinacea, asters, zinnias.
Love that. So you kind of went through the season.
Yeah, went through the seasons.
I love that.
And then we went through to, we had a little 1 week, 2 week break, and then we went for the biennials, like the foxgloves, the honesty.
So what do you do then? So the people come to this amazing. At first, so you went. So many questions. So you got sponsorship from Mr. Fothergills. They said, "Yep, we'd love to be involved. We'll help you with the seeds and stuff." And then, how did you go about finding a space where you were going to meet up with people and do that?
Well, this space where we are now is a local community space. It's the riverbank, and I've come here quite a lot with my children prior, and I got permission to come here and do a so-long here, and it just felt the right space. Was it so peaceful? I don't know if you can hear the birds.
You can hear the birds. I can hear them through the headphones, so I'm hoping that people can hear that when they listen.
It was so important to do the grow-along in a space which was peaceful and just a place where you could get away from whatever's going on in your house and just sow seeds of hope together and talk together. We don't spend the whole time talking about flowers.
That's important though, isn't it? It is about the flowers and you're growing along, but actually I think it's so much more than that by the sounds of it, isn't it? I think you said there's people that come that have loads of stuff going on, and I guess it's a space to...
We all have struggles and battles that we go through daily, but when we're together and sowing those seeds, it just gives us all hope, and it's like sowing those seeds of hope together, and we come back each week and we do update each other with what's growing and what's not, but we have a laugh while we do it, and it doesn't matter if your seed, if they're not growing, but a lot of the group have grown a huge amount of flowers, but we all have some that maybe don't grow as well as others, but it's a real learning sort of thing. It's
a learning, and it's something to actually bond over. The fact that, and that's what we all do on Instagram, isn't it? And the whole community, it's what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, what have you learned, what do we share, and that sort of thing. And you're doing that on a real close community level and having those, chats and conversations. But it doesn't really matter, does it, ultimately, whether they grow stuff or not, because you're having just time together to do it. And like you say, sowing it, seeing what happens, but really you're just having great conversations and a bit of time out to, forget about everything and just spend some time together in a different part of the world.
Yeah. No, I'm so thankful for this riverbank space as well. It's become a real blessing.
And I do want to talk about this space where we are now, because people, they can see it if they watch the video, but it is just the most beautiful space here. So there's a church. What's the church called?
St Mary's.
St Mary's,
Dunmo.
which is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll have to get some videos of that to show people.
Yeah.
But then you kind of go down these winding paths, and it's like really kind of foresty, really wild and overgrown. And you were kind of saying, weren't you, on the walk down, that it's a bit wild, and I think that's amazing because it's that relaxing space. There's a little river, a little stream running right
around
down.
us, yeah. And there's otters in that in the river.
There's otters.
Yeah, my friend Phil, he's got a camera set up, and he's working very closely with Essex Wildlife Trust. And we've spotted. He's got photographs of otters. There's a lot of other animals which I can't quite remember. One looks like a cat, but I can't remember.
Like a cat.
Yeah. But there's rabbits.
We'll edit that bit out.
There's rabbits and all sorts.
And so did you create this? So this space was obviously, it's a little clearing kind of along the windy path. But then have you created all this stuff with the group that's here now? The little wigwams and the little benches and that sort of thing?
No, well, this was all here.
Okay.
Because it is a community space. So my friend Phil's put together these benches. So what we're sitting on now, these old logs, were old rotten trees, which have just been cut down and, made to use. And he made that over there. So he's at the border garden. The bench, which you'll see in the show, is made from the fallen tree that we're sitting on.
Wow, I love that. So let's talk about the show. So firstly, how did that come about? How did you end up? Did you decide to do it? Were you approached to do it? How did you get into it?
So, the idea was put across to me, would you like to design a border garden, by the show team? And I thought, oh, well, I had a vision in my head, and I was like, I could do it. So I'd done this drawing, and it was the vision I had was just this burst of flowers and a real showcase of them, and it also inspired by this riverbank where we are. So it's got the path that we walk down with the wheelbarrow, and it's got the wheelbarrow in it, the gravel path and elements from the river which inspired the design, but then it's bringing all the flowers into it as well. So they put this illustration across, and then I didn't think anything of it. I thought, no, that's never going to happen. And I was quite busy being mum and, lots of busy things happening in my life. And then I got the email and was like, congratulations, can't wait to see the garden.
And then were you like, oh, no, I'm going to have to actually do this?
I don't know why, I just didn't think it would happen. No, it is very, very exciting. And when I told the meetup group, they were really excited. They're really excited now, and they're going to be at the show as well. And
so you're bringing them into it and making them part of it.
Yeah, so it is a community garden, and we are working on a forever space for the community. So it will have a space.
It will have a permanent home.
Permanent home, yes. So it's not confirmed yet. So if you're listening and you're in Essex, in the Great Dunmow area,
it could be near you.
Send me a message. But in conversations with the local council, which is exciting. Unfortunately, it can't be at the riverbank because this space gets flooded once a year, and it just wouldn't work for the plants.
So the garden, then, you're basically creating a community space. You're bringing the community that you work with to the show. So what is the kind of overall theme and idea of the garden?
So the theme that the brief the Gardeners World gave everyone for the Border Gardens this year is My Garden Escape. So it is a showcase of all the flowers that we've been sowing, every flower variety that we've sown. Obviously, it's an autumn show, so it's not going to have the flowers in it that we've grown. It will come up in the spring, but it will have the cosmos, hopefully the zinnias, the dahlias. Dahlias we haven't grown in there, but that's an added thing for the autumn. So it will have the echinacea and plants like that. But it's a real garden to share that joy of growing, so people can look at it and think, actually, I want to grow flowers. And And yeah, it's a place to really take all those flower creations in and just, take in what's flourishing. And I think a lot of people, like not recently, but I think in the last 10 years, people don't grow that many flowers. I mean, I'm talking not king gardeners, I'm just talking
not us,
normal
not
people.
us folks, yeah.
Like I was. It just wasn't, it seemed like the impossible. And there's so much for growing vegetables, which is great. Love growing vegetables. But what about our pollinators? Like, the numbers of pollinators have fallen. So it's not just, it's about creating a garden which is also enjoyed by the pollinators and potentially getting those numbers up for the bees and the butterflies. And but yeah, but the main roots of it is a community garden. It's a showcase of flowers that we're growing together. I mean, some of the plants in there, like the echinacea, they'll be from the nursery, because echinacea takes a good few years to grow. But we're all growing echinacea in our gardens, and it's just, yeah.
I love that, and it really is a make it flourish garden. Then really, it's almost your journey in terms of you had never gardened before. You've really got into it, and now you've kind of gone full circle, and now you're telling everyone else about it and saying, come and give it a go. It is really easy. You can do it, and look how much enjoyment you can get out of it and all the benefits.
It's so easy. And I get people, like a few people that have come to the meet-up group when they first came. They hadn't grown a single flower in their life, maybe grown vegetables. Everyone's got a different story, some people had grown. But a real mix of ages. Like, so we've got young, in the 20s, 18, 20s, and then I've got a man who's 98, and it's just that when we're together, it doesn't matter what age you start growing. It really doesn't matter. And sorry, I'm lost for words because I'm full of that joy thinking about everything. But it's been a really amazing experience growing with everyone, and I can't wait. I'm really excited,
and really excitingly, you're doing a grow along, aren't you?
Yes, which I haven't announced yet.
Haven't you?
No,
I've just spilled the beans.
Do you know what? I've been so busy. Like with
by the time people hear this, actually, so the plan is that right now we're obviously chatting before you do the garden. We've come down to see the real life grow along space, and then I'm going to come back and see you at the show with the garden, hopefully by then, and the team all around you, and you'll be doing the grow alongs, and I'm going to hear how it's gone. And hopefully you'll be telling me it's gone so well and you're really pleased with it, and you haven't fallen over and started crying by that point. But so by the time people hear this, the plan is that they'll be able to hear this bit beforehand and they'll hear the bit after. So we're not spilling the beans.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I mean, sense, but
it's
that's really exciting, though.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, it's just going to be exactly what we do at the weekly meet-up group, but at the event. So I'll do a little demonstration, nothing too formal, nothing boring. Can I say that? No.
Yeah.
No, but
absolutely.
It won't be very technical words. It'll be really simple. And so we're doing a sow along with sweet peas, larkspur, and lupins. There might be one or two others, but we've sort of got a flower focus for each of those days: the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. And it'll probably be about 1 hour, 40 minutes. We'll probably spend a lot of the time after the sow along talking and just sharing ideas about how we all grow. There's no right with growing. I'm not going to say this is how you sow sweet peas, because everyone's got a different way of sowing sweet peas. You can soak them, you can rub them, you can do nothing with them, and they'll still grow. So it's finding what works for you and just enjoying that and embracing that.
I think that's why I love the gardening community in a way, because there is no right and wrong, and there's never any competition between people or animosity or anything like that, because I think we all just appreciate, like you said, there's so many different ways of doing things, and it's what works for you and what works in your space, in your environment, and different people have different conditions, or they've just learnt from different people and do different things, and that's what works for them. And I think it's great then, and we just share that, and we share the ideas and tips, and go, try this if that hasn't worked for you yet, and that sort of thing. And to be able to do that at the show with everyone, I think will bring that to life and bring them into that community. And so anyone can join.
Anyone can join. So if you're coming along, the original potting bench will be
potting bench will be travelling
all the way down to Audley End, and the logs. And we'll have the Mr. Fothergill seeds and the compost, and it'll be a really casual grow along. And it's
just come and get stuck in, basically. Come and have a go.
And you can sow for your loved ones, your friends as well.
And they'll be able to take their plants home, will they?
I mean, you might want to bring a bag for them. Because I was thinking of
how they're going to be carrying their plants around all day.
I don't know if the show's got a plant creche. It might have a plant creche where you can.
They usually do.
They normally do.
Yeah.
So let's just say, bring a little
something
bag
to
and put it in the plant creche.
Come and grab some seeds from Mr. Fothergill's and give it a go and grow something.
Yeah, and they're all really easy seeds to grow. Autumn, we'll be focusing on the autumn flowers to grow. So this time of year, like the sweet peas, it's a little bit, we're getting really ahead with our sweet peas, but it's, you're going to have the first flowers come early spring, which is quite exciting.
Start early. And you'll be spacing the flowers out.
Yeah.
That's really exciting then. So it sounds really exciting, but how is it all going with the planning and stuff? Because, I mean, we've just made it sound like a dream for you to be doing the gardening, and it is. But I get the feeling that it's probably quite a lot of work. So how's it going with the planning and preparation for it? Have you found that?
It's going good. When I submitted the design, I didn't think through what it entails. Like, the admin and the sorting and the writing behind the garden design. So there's been quite a lot, and also doing it in some holidays it's been quite ambitious, challenging.
Did you think about that at the time?
I didn't think about that. But it's all coming together, and Mr. Fothergill's have been amazing. So it's going to be filled with some of our annuals, which me and the group are growing. But alongside of that, it's the Mr. Fothergill's nursery providing some plants. So the more established plants, like we spoke about, like the echinacea and the catmint, delphiniums, which take a few years to get established. But I really wanted them in the show. It couldn't just be annuals to have that vision. It had to have the delphiniums and the echinacea and like lithorum, and I mean I could go on with plants, bore you, but
it's not going to bore me, you know that.
But they've been amazing working with them.
I just imagine it's a bit of a logistical nightmare, is it, in terms of how you're going to get all this stuff there? How's the potting bench going to get there? How are these plants going to get there? And what will they turn up like, and all of that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, yes, a lot of the plants will turn up on the day that are coming from the nursery. And then we're taking the potting bench and the stalls and everything for the grow along area, which I've kindly got some amazing helpers. Phil, and my brother-in-law is actually a gardener, would you believe it?
Perfect.
Yes, so he's travelling all the way from the Peak District.
Wow.
So big up Dan.
Go on, Dan.
Go on, Dan. He's coming with his van and he's staying with me for the week. And yeah, I'm so thankful for him and Phil as well. And there's a few other people that are really going to be helping, and I'm really, really thankful for their help. But yeah, the admin side of things, yeah, I didn't think that through, but it's one of those things I just wanted to go for it, and it is all coming together. I mean, it's, what is it, less than a week now to the build, like this time next week.
Yeah. How are you feeling now then about being a week to go?
I am feeling all right. I've got to go and get a tree today. So after here, I've got to go to a tree nursery, as you do.
Okay.
And just get this tree sorted. That's everything else is sorted. I've got a lovely wheelbarrow and other little props, and we've got a bench that's being made, and we've all these little elements are all coming together, and the plants. It's slowly coming together, but I think. Yeah, it is a little bit. I am going to bed at night like, oh my gosh, have I forgotten this? Have I forgotten that? But I think the best thing to do is just enjoy it. I didn't submit the design. I didn't even realise that this show gets judged. So I think, we're going for we're going to go for it, but it's not just about.
It's not about that.
The medal. It's not just about that. It's about sharing the joy, and if we can do that together and share the joy together and just do our best. And
I think that's what this garden's all about, isn't it? It's not about winning a medal or being the best in show. It's about being the most inspiring and showing people that they can do it and they can grow, and showing what you've been doing here and bringing that to life and letting people grow along with you. I've never known a garden. This could be a first. Maybe we just declare it. It's a first, people. That you can, I've never seen a garden where you can actually get involved and sow some of the seeds that are there and learn more about the plants and where they've come from and that sort of thing. So you're really getting people involved. It's not just come and look at this border that I've made. It's more than that. And you're going to leave people hopefully going away from your garden with something physical in some cases, but, having learnt more or having been inspired to do it themselves.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's, I can't wait to talk to people about that, if they've grown these flowers before and just hearing their story as well. And there might be people that are really expert growers and, I'm excited to hear how they do it. And it's not saying that I'm doing it the best. It's just everybody sharing their story of growing flowers and connecting and
So I want to go back now to your day job, if you like, and what you've been doing before. So you were a TV art director. No, not art director. What were you doing?
Yeah,
what
so
were
I was
you
a
doing
TV
before?
art director. I still am. I'm still self-employed, but I'm
So what sort of things do you normally do on a day-to-day basis?
So basically, I get given a script, read the script, have like 2 weeks probably prep on a show like EastEnders. So you read the script, and then you liaise with your work with the production designer and work out what props are needed, work out your set dressing, and anything design-wise. It's, working with graphic designers, and then you go to filming and then making sure the overall picture looks correct. You're in charge of set dressing, making sure your action props are there, and your action props are, you've chosen those action props that they're using, if it's a magazine or flowers or, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And you have like a prop team with you, moving furniture and, working with the actors and things. But
have you got a favourite scene that you've done, that you've been involved in? Yeah.
On what show?
Any. What's your favourite? What's the one thing that sticks in your mind when you think about what you're doing that you think, yeah, I did that. That was great.
Oh, that's a question. Like, I had some great times at EastEnders. So many Queen Vic parties. Like, they were fun. I do miss all the team there because I've been on maternity leave for some time, double maternity leave. But yeah, we've had some great fun doing parties there, but then I've also done things more like set dressing, art directing stuff for commercials and editorial things like Italian Vogue and things like that. So there's been a real
really varied.
It's very, very, it's a real mix. I don't really know how I landed into television. It was one of those things.
How did you get into that? Yeah, I want to get into that.
Well, I studied fine art at university. Well, art foundation, then specialised in graphic design, and somehow that was it. 3D illustration. I then got into worked as a 3D illustrator. Well, worked with a 3D illustrator, and then we was working on music videos.
Oh wow!
And yeah, it was really fun. Music videos are brilliant. Like, really,
loads of fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. But you come home singing songs like that song, like, and it'll be a song that no one knows.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and then I went for a job. I think my first BBC job was for a show called Doctors.
Oh yeah. Is that still going?
Yeah,
No.
it is still in Birmingham. And then that was my first TV job, and then after that I kind of done other shows, some comedy shows and things, and then I was at the BBC for working on EastEnders for about 8-10 years, art directing, and I met my husband there, and it's mad really that
that's amazing.
But so that creativeness in me is kind of always been there, but I was just doing something different, I guess.
And I guess now, do you feel like you've turned that creativity that you've always had, and now you're turning that into gardening creativity?
Yeah, I think it's something I'm passionate about. But I do really like TV and filmmaking and stuff. But I think gardening, I'm like, when you're really passionate about something,
it really gives you the buzz.
Yeah, I've got the buzz, and
Do you find that you have to get into like a creative space? Like, how do you get into the zone if you're doing the TV stuff or even planning a garden? How do you get into like that creative zone? Do you have like a bit of a thing that you have to do to get into it, or does it just kind of come? It
does kind of. I think telly's different because you're reading the script, and you then start visualising, and but sometimes I might have to go for a walk, and walks are great.
Just go for a walk and the ideas start flowing.
But also my garden, like, that's also a place of ideas. It's not always physical visual, like drawings. It's sometimes ideas or visuals in my head.
Yeah.
And then it's later on, weeks later, you then get them. But it's having that moment in the garden, and it's just like that moment. Oh,
yeah. I think like when you're in a creative role, like, you can't just necessarily. A lot of the time, you can't just kind of read the script, like you say, and then go, right, that's what we'll do. Here we go, job done. Yeah. You have to kind of go away, don't you? And you don't really get into a creative zone. It just when you are relaxed, like you say, you go into the garden, a nice, beautiful space, or you go for a walk and you have that mindfulness. That's when it almost starts to just flow, isn't it? And then I get into a bit of a role. I don't know about you, but then suddenly I've got a million ideas and it's all just coming out, and I have to just start writing it all down or drawing it down, and just kind of that's how it comes out in creative bursts. Are you the same?
Yeah, I think, especially in television, I could never read scripts in the office. There'll be like 30 people in the office, and I'd be like, oh my God. I
Nightmare.
would do like call them breakdowns. I just wouldn't do I would hardly do one a day. Like, and everyone, I don't know how people work with noise. And even if I put my headphones in, I just had to go outside and just do my reading and my writing elsewhere. And I think, I'm very similar. I think the garden is, even where we are now, at the riverbank, this is a great place to come.
This is a beautiful space to come and just be creative, and they're perfect for the seed zone. But I kind of want to come and work down here and just come and sit down here and do my work, because it's just a lovely space. It's so peaceful.
Talking about art, my friends just started a art group down here in the evenings, and
that sounds amazing in this space. That sounds really good. And how have you found then? You obviously started the Instagram journey just posting about what you were doing, and for yourself really as a bit of a kind of outlet for what you were doing. But how have you found the gardening community and everything, and what it's turned into now on Make It Flourish?
I think when I started the account, I didn't really overthink it. I just didn't think anything would really come of it, really. It was for me and recording the journey. And I think during the lockdown, a lot of us, we used to do like the garden communities. I think it was like My Garden This Month, and there was another one. And there was a few we all used to talk a lot, and we'd enter these little things. That's how I think a lot of us.
It was nice. It's how we all kind of came together.
Did you do that as well? Yeah. And there was like my house this month, or
my garden daily, and all sorts of stuff, isn't there?
And I think that kind of got everyone talking. It was great for the community, and when we come out of lockdown, I think those things kind of calmed down a bit, and but everyone's kind of was still in touch and talking, and new people of new gardeners.
I think it almost changed, didn't it? So we went from being in lockdown and we were all at home all the time, almost stuck in our gardens. So then we really got into gardening and making it our own space, and doing all the My Garden Daily and all that sort of stuff. It was amazing, just to give us that mental headspace. But then, like you say, when we all went back to work, it almost changed into being our escape again. And for me, like doing the gardening and doing the Instagram stuff and connecting with people, like when we connect at the shows and when we meet up with our friends at the shows, like it's just that's that almost coming back. It's like a warm hug from lockdown times, and that's how we all met and how we all bonded, and we've all got a passion for the garden, and because of that, and because of the mindfulness and everything that goes with it, it all goes hand in hand, and I think that's why I love the gardening community on Instagram.
I've met some really lovely friends, and especially now, like going to now we're out of lockdown, we can all meet at those shows, and
I think that's what was great, wasn't it? Is that we were all kind of virtually meeting and making friends, and that first year when we just started meeting these people in real life was crazy, if nothing else. It was absolutely crazy, but so lovely, and transpired that they were real friendships that we'd made as well, not just digital friends that chatted to each other, but actually they were real friends, and some of those friends now are like best friends for me, that I've made through that connection. And I think it's a real community space though, isn't it? Like we were saying earlier about seed sowing and stuff, but there's no right or wrong, there's no way to do it. Everyone's just sharing tips and ideas and what they're up to, and encouraging each other. I think that's the biggest thing, encouraging each other to give it a go and to do more.
It's so great to have that platform to see how our friends do it, and just follow their journey, and it's quite fun. And some days, if you're not feeling overly inspired, you might see someone's post and it's like, oh, there, I might try that. Or I can't think what I saw the other day, but I've seen quite a few things recently, and I think might be something for the kids at home, how to create something, or there's so many cool things people are doing.
There really is. And do you find now that obviously you started doing the Instagram just for yourself, but has that turned into more, now you've got a lot of followers now and stuff, and people being inspired by you and what you're doing? Do you feel that there's a bit more pressure now to be doing that, or are you literally still just going with it and seeing what happens?
I'm just going with it at the moment and seeing where the journey of this passion takes me. And I'm so thankful that people actually want to follow this journey with me. And I don't know what we've got an exciting new season for the Grow Along, and I don't know what's next really, but
it's exciting, isn't it? It's a nice community space, and you can bring the Grow Alongs to life. So you're doing them here with the local community, but you're still doing them on Instagram, aren't you? And that sort of thing.
That should be starting up for an autumn sown one. But because of this show, the last few weeks have just been, I had to kind of put the live Grow Alongs on hold for just a few weeks.
But once you've done the show, or by the time people are hearing this, then hopefully very soon on Instagram you'll be announcing.
Maybe you can join me, so long.
I'd love to.
The last one, well, it wasn't the last one, but I had a mouse join me.
Really?
Yeah, with Eve. And it was so... The thing is, when you go live...
Anything can
happen. So I'm doing our loop-in Zoe Along, and just a mouse just right next to me ran up my shelving unit next to me, and it was just... Oh my gosh.
Wow, really?
But it's when you're live,
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
And...
So they'll be starting up then by the time people hear this, probably in a few weeks' time or something like that.
Yes, so I'm just finalising what we're going to be sowing, and And also working on things that we can do in the winter months as well, when, things, you can't do that much. And, I start sowing in actually late January, but it's those months of January and just finding things that we can do.
I don't know about you, actually. Do you struggle over the winter months with being so passionate about gardening and being outside and stuff? Yeah. I really struggle. How do you find that over the winter, or does it not affect you so much?
I'm a big lover of Christmas. So
that gets
like
you through.
My break. It's like my break. Not break, but there's so much going on in December, and
I absolutely love Christmas, and I really get into it probably for that. You get Halloween and bonfire night. You can really go for it up to Christmas, but then I find January, you're kind of like New Year, New Me, and then what I find really hard is end of January. I mean, it feels like January goes on forever normally. January is about 10 years long, and then February, like, you're kind of like,
but that's the best time for sowing, like early annuals.
Maybe I'm not sowing enough seeds.
Yeah, I mean, I sow everything on windowsills, really basic equipment. I did once, 2 years ago, I bought some grow lights on eBay because I saw these people.
Do they work?
Well, I I saw these people on Instagram getting these amazing results, but I burnt my eyes. Like,
you burnt your eyes?
Yeah, because they're really dangerous.
Are they?
Yeah, you've got to really think about if you're going to use them.
Wow.
You've got to wear like really good sunglasses.
Are they really that strong? Wow.
Yeah. I thought I had to go to hospital. It was so after that experience, I'm like, no, I can do it all naturally. Like,
I think natural is best.
I really appreciated my eyes after that. And
sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
No, it was, but yeah, just I don't think grow light. I mean, I've seen some amazing results from.
I guess if you've got if you're in a flat with not much natural light and that sort of thing, then
that's great. But if you like me with children, I just thought a bit of a hazard. And
and if you've got windows with natural light, the plants are going to love that way more than any artificial light.
Yeah. I mean, come February and March, gosh, my windowsills are packed. My husband he gets a bit annoyed. There's like a vermiculite trial going down my stairs, and every now and then I might go to I've got them upstairs, I've got them downstairs, and I might go to the bathroom to top up the water, and then there's been a few accidents with the soil sometimes. But no, I love starting sowing early, and I'm planning that. I'll be planning, the new season for the January and the February very soon. So.
Okay,
that's a real something.
That's something to look forward to. Yes. Then, and I'm going to be eagerly watching them this year to see what I can start to sow on my windowsills. That would just give me something to keep going, because I think I just miss getting outside and touching the ground, and especially now because I'm in a flat, so I don't have a garden at the minute. So actually, just being able to start some things off with touch some soil, plant some stuff in the windowsills, and they can go out in the pots afterwards and stuff. So
there's so much you can grow on.
That's going to keep me going. You're going to keep me going through the winter. No pressure.
What's your favourite flower? I haven't asked you this.
Oh, my favourite flower. That's so much pressure for us gardeners. I know that. I think it changes every time someone asks me, but. My favourite for the past few years has been bearded iris. And then I really loved seeing them at Chelsea this year, because they're not normally kind of in flower, but because we had such a weird season this year, they were in almost every garden because it was one of the few things that was really, really flowering. But I loved seeing that at Chelsea this year. And Sarah Price's garden, the colour palette was just beautiful, natural, and those iris just looked like something out of a magazine, didn't they? They were beautiful, and I think that's why I just how floaty they are and natural looking. And the only thing is they just don't last for that long, do they? And they're actually quite difficult to grow. I've found, because they just need a lot of sunlight on those. On the base of the plants, they like to be really baked in the heat, which is fine if you've got a big space. But if you've got, a garden like most of us have, and you're trying to pack as much into your border as you can, they just get swamped, and they don't really do that well, I've found. But that's my favourite flower, I think. But then obviously I'm dahlia mad, absolutely dahlia mad. And if anything, that should be my favourite, because they just go on forever.
Oh yeah, I love dahlias. Sorry, as I dream about dahlias.
She's off. Yeah. She's off dreaming about dahlias.
Yeah, my dahlias this year aren't as good as last year. I think it's to do with the mad weather that we've had and maybe me not having as much time this year to dedicate to them. But even just cutting the ones that have come, like this week, the most beautiful cafe au lait, and I've just, they're just incredible. Like the size of them.
Oh yeah, they get huge.
Yeah.
As big as your head.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So, I'm going to catch up with you at Gardeners World Live.
Yeah.
When your garden is done, you'll be open to the public.
Yeah.
You'll have been judged probably by the time I'm coming on the Friday.
Yeah, so it would have been all done by then, yeah.
So we'll know. So we'll find out how it's all gone. And
yes.
I can't wait to catch up with you then.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be, I can't wait to do this so long. And
it's going to be amazing. So I'll see you in a few weeks' time.
Yes. Well, is it a few weeks? 2 weeks? Oh, that is a few weeks,
yeah. Yeah, a few weeks. No pressure. She's like, oh, God.
It feels like ages away, but it's really not that far away.
You've not got long now. So now we're here at Gardeners World Autumn Fair at Audley End.
Yeah.
And I can see you looking pretty chuffed. So tell me about how it's gone.
It's been amazing. I mean, it's been really, really full on. 2.5 day build. So we started on the Tuesday. We finished yesterday, Thursday, at 3 o'clock. All tools had to be down. But we did it. And it's been a real group effort. So I can't thank the team and the build team, the meet-up group, everyone. There's so many people that have been involved in this, and the amazing sponsors. It's just been incredible. We've actually done it.
You've done it, and you were judged yesterday,
yes.
weren't you? So let's tell everyone what the judges thought.
So being judged, I mean, they were really lovely assessors. But it was just that waiting. You had your time slot and it's waiting to be judged. Assessed, they use the word assessed, it's not judged anymore. Okay. So you wait for that time slot. So mine was like 5:20. So I was waiting around. So I finished the garden.
And you can't do any more.
Yeah, so I finished at 3 o'clock and then you're just walking around like, and then you have that nervous feeling like you're going to do your A-levels or you're waiting for your A-level results.
Waiting for the teacher to come round.
Yeah, I haven't had that feeling in like absolutely ages.
No.
So yeah, it was, but the assessors were really lovely people and
good.
Yeah, and they were really complimentary about the garden, and I've never done anything like this and nothing to do with gardens before.
No.
I've never designed anything to do with gardens or plants before. So
your first ever show garden.
Yes.
So come on, tell us what did you get?
Gold.
Yes. Massive congratulations.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Thank you.
So what feedback did the assessors give you then?
They were really complimentary on the flowers, and they loved like the idea of, not the idea, but they loved the meet-up group and the story behind the meet-up group. Pippa, one of the main assessors, she really loved the design of the garden and the path and how it all leads to the bench at the end. So yeah, it was really, really great feedback. I mean, I can't remember every. It was kind of like a bit of a blur, every single thing they said. But yeah, they loved the colour palette. That was one of the main things that stuck in my head.
It is beautiful. Really great choice of colours. So talk everyone through the garden then, especially for the listeners who can only hear it. Talk them through the garden almost from start. Take them down the garden.
Down the garden. Right, so it's inspired by the riverbank. So if you're listening and you don't know about the garden, so we meet every week. We go down a gravel path. We fill our wheelbarrow with the supplies. So you have got that wheelbarrow. It's now filled with flowers instead of the supplies. And it's a 1950s rustic one. And so as you go along this gravel path, you've got all the annuals which have been grown from the meet-up group and myself. And
are they the actual ones that
yeah,
people
so
out
like
of the group have grown?
behind us, these massive cosmos here was grown by a lady called Christine.
Wow. And that has got a lot of attention today.
Yeah, and Leslie, she grew those ones over there.
And she's watching.
And she's
in
watching
the
in
audience
front of us.
now.
Big up Leslie's cosmos.
Definitely.
So all the plants do have a story, and so majority of all the annuals have been grown by myself and the meetup group. The perennials, like the more established perennials, are a vision of what's to come. Like, so we've got our delphiniums at the moment, but they're like little small.
Yeah, because it is a little bit early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, for that second flush on delphiniums.
Yes. So I only knew I was doing this garden in May. So to get those delphiniums that standard, that height, you need 3 years like a good amount of planning for that. So some amazing sponsors with the delphiniums.
And they came in quite last minute, didn't they,
yeah,
to the rescue?
The lovely tall ones at the back are from Golden Valley Nursery in Herefordshire. Absolutely beautiful delphiniums there. And then some of the beautiful smaller varieties are actually from Mr. Fothergill's nursery.
What I love about the garden is that you can grow most of it, 90% of it I'd say, from seed.
Yeah.
So there's a real great it just shows how easy it is to create a garden like this on quite an affordable level as well, because most of it you can grow from seed. There are loads of amazing Mr. Fothergill's varieties in there. So it just shows, it's almost like the grow along just coming together, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is a vision of, well, for me it is the vision that when we meet up, I get excited for the flowers that are ahead of us, and we talk about them at the potting bench. Oh yeah, the China asters, they're pink and they're really, and the delphiniums for next year, and they're all here, which is I'm so pleased that we've managed to do it. And and what you're saying is, this garden doesn't cost money, really. You know, the gravel in the path is just gravel. It's not nothing anyone can add to the gravel path, and nearly all these plants you can grow from seed. Even the verbena, like that, is so easy to grow. Obviously the tree, it is a forever garden, so it had to have a tree, so that is inspired by the riverbank space where it's full of beautiful birch trees. It's also got willow legs, so the bench at the back is made from an old fallen decayed tree.
From the riverbank? From
the riverbank, so we walk past that tree every time we go down the gravel path.
Now it's part of the garden.
I know,
love that.
I know. And so someone in the community kindly made that bench. And we've got dahlias in there, because dahlias, as I was saying on the previous podcast, was one of the first plants along with the cosmos that I grew, and it's a real autumn plant. It has to be in there. It's happened, and it's here, and it's
And we should mention as well that for everyone listening to all of those amazing seeds, that Mr. Fothergill's are the sponsors of this podcast, and for listening you can have 25% off any seeds on the Mr. Fothergill's website by using the code TOM25. So if you're inspired by some of the flowers and plants that you see here in Cara's garden, then you can shop online and grab a discount as well.
All like the cosmos, you've got the candy floss cosmos. People have gone mad for the candy floss.
People are loving the candy floss because it's compact. Talk people through the difference between that cosmos.
So that compact variety of cosmos, that grows to about 50 centimetres, whereas the tall ones right at the back, that grows up to about 110 centimetres. So those, like the compact ones, are great for front of the border potted plants. That one in the border just there is actually in a big terracotta pot, and we've just planted it into the raised bed.
Nice. And it's just so prolific with flowering, and much bigger flower heads as well than usual, isn't it? So it's really caught people's attention. Yeah,
and they don't, what's great about cosmos, they don't need that much love or nurturing or anything. They just thrive on their own. I think when you start faffing too much with cosmos, that's when that's it. They just keep deadheading them, and they'll keep going until the end of the season. That's the only thing. Like, I mean, today I've got my snips out about 10 times that you just need a deadhead, because that encourages the more flowers. The more you deadhead, the more flowers.
Exactly, and with Cosmos, they just keep going till the end. They're one of the best plants, aren't they, for that? So you've been doing the grow-alongs as well, and when you're doing them over the weekend, and I joined you for one earlier, which was fab. We had a lovely little crowd of people, and we've been sowing sweet peas today. And you're doing different seeds over the next few days?
Yep, so we've got lupins tomorrow, and we're doing larkspur on Sunday as well. So
I love that.
It's just that extra bonus to share that joy of growing. And
well, you're sharing that joy of growing and the whole idea of the garden and your grow-alongs and everything that you're all about, really. You're bringing that together. And sharing that again with other people. You're teaching them how to grow those seeds and do what you have done here. So I love that. And people going home with their little bags and pots of seeds that they've learnt how to grow with you, and they're taking them home with them.
And we're growing in Silver Grow compost, which is another sponsor. I've got
which we've got in front
in my hand,
of us
right?
here.
So I've obviously got to talk about that. But Silver Grow have also been a sponsor. They're now a sponsor to the garden and the meetup group, and
it's really nice stuff. I haven't actually used this stuff before.
Oh, you don't even have to sieve it when you're sowing seeds.
It's really nice. And it's all peat-free, I assume?
All peat-free, yeah. It's,
fantastic. It feels really nice as well for a peat-free compost. So, big shout to those guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing more sowing as the day goes on, I think.
And how are you feeling now? Now it's all done. Now you've got gold, and can you just enjoy the next few days now?
I'm just enjoying it, and it's also just sharing what we've done as a group with everyone, and that anyone can grow flowers. And I think today I've had some great conversations with people who can't believe that I only started growing in the national lockdown, and like it really is that easy. Like there's even people here today, garden lovers, but they've never grown, and it's there's nothing to be afraid of, like sowing those first seeds. And if it doesn't work, if you go on holiday or whatever,
just try something.
Just keep trying.
Try
It's trial and error, but
it's one of the things as well that I really love about the shows. I don't know about you, but just being able to chat to so many people who love gardens, love growing, but no one knows everything, and everyone's sharing tips and ideas. And just standing here today, like you say, we've shared so many tips with people about the different plants and how you sow them and how to look after them, and they're giving us stuff back as well and giving us tips, and I think that's what's great about the shows, isn't it?
And there's such a lovely vibe here today.
It's really been busy,
relaxed,
actually.
But there's so many other great inspiring borders and show gardens to see, nurseries and garden stands. It's the music as well here, and the setting of Audley End house right behind us is really beautiful.
It's absolutely stunning.
And the sun's come out right now.
Thank
goodness. It was raining last night, but
it was a bit wet earlier, but the sun has come out now. And it's you got the most beautiful setting for your garden, haven't you, really, with the house behind?
No, it is stunning.
So what next then? What's next after this? Are you just going home and having a rest? Or have you got plans?
It's relax, I think, and we'll see.
Put your feet up and have a well-earned rest. I don't blame you. Well, thank you so much for sharing the whole journey with us, and I know that all the listeners are going to be totally inspired by your story.
Thank you,
and
Tom.
Hopefully they're going to give it a go and grow some seeds as well this year, because just look what started for you from growing a few seeds, and now look where you've ended up with a gold at Audley End. And your very first show garden. High five to that.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.